This is a review worksheet for Advanced Algebra 1, Chapter 5 test coming up. The graph here shows the the cost of renting skates, and skates are rented at 9 a.m. and returned at 2. So 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. is 5 hours. Okay. And so now I go over here and I go to 5 hours right here and go straight up, and then I hit that black dot and I go straight over and I'm at $12. So if she returns them at 2 p.m., her rental fee is going to be $12. Okay. If she returns them 15 minutes later, then that means we're going to be at 5¼ hours. So over to here, and I go straight up and I don't hit part of the graph until here. And so that's going to be $14. Okay. Find the vertex of the graph and then tell whether the graph opens up or down. This graph opens up because it's positive out front, and the vertex is 5, 0 because there's nothing out there for the y. So vertex is 5, 0, opens up. Okay. This next one, the vertex, there's nothing in there with the x, so the vertex is 0, 8, and that opens down because of the negative out in front. And then the last one, number 4 here, the vertex is -3, -2. And that opens up because we're positive out front. Okay, so this next problem, we're supposed to find the rate of change on that interval. So that means I have the point 0.75, comma, the 0.75 would be, here's 1, 0.75 would be here. It looks like that value would be probably a half, 0.5, and then 1.25, let's see, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, oh, 0.75, I'm sorry, I read that graph wrong. 0.75 would be right here, right? This is 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 1. So this would be 1.25, and then over here would be 1.5. So 0.75, the y-coordinate is 0. And 1.25, the y-coordinate is 2. So the slope, which is the average rate of change as the slope, is 2 minus 0 over 1.25 minus 0.75. So that is 2 over 0.5, which I'm pretty sure is 10, but because it's Sunday, I'm going to check. And it's a good thing I did because it's not 10, it's 4. Silly goose. So the average rate of change on that interval is 4. And for these last two, we're supposed to graph, state the vertex, the equation of the axis of symmetry, domain and range. And first we have g of x. I did not bring home any graph paper. So g of x equals 3 times the absolute value of x minus 2 plus 1. So your vertex is at 2, 1. One, two, three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There will be graph paper on the test for you to do this. You won't have to draw your own graphs. So 2, 1 is here. So the vertex is 2, 1. The equation of the axis of symmetry is x equals 2. I should plug in 1. And if I plug in 1, I get -1, absolute value would be 1. I get 3 plus 1 is 4. And then I can use the axis of symmetry to get that point. If I plug in 0, I'm going to get 7. So it's not going to fit on the graph I have here. It will fit on the graph that you would have on the test. I think those are 7 by 7 grids. But anyway, there's your graph. Domain is all real numbers. And the range is y is from here up. So y is greater than or equal to 1, that y coordinate of the vertex. And I think that's all the things, right? Vertex, equation of the axis of symmetry, and the domain and range and graph. So that was number 6. Number 7 is h of x equals -2, going to open down, times the quantity x plus 1 plus 3. So my vertex is at -1, 3. So -1, 3 is the vertex. Equation of the axis of symmetry would be x equals -1. Let's see, what do I want to plug in? I want to plug in 0 and get, let's see, 1, -2 plus 3 is 1. And I can use my axis of symmetry to get that point. Then I'm going to plug in 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2, times -2 is -4, plus 3 is -1. 1, -1, and then my axis of symmetry, and you're not seeing this, sorry, didn't move up my paper. So there it is. So I plotted -1, 3, the point -1, 3, and then I plugged in 0 and got 1. Axis of symmetry, I plugged 1 in and got -1. Axis of symmetry, the vertex is -1, 3. The equation of the axis of symmetry is x equals -1. Domain is all real numbers, and the range y is less than or equal to 3. So that y coordinate of the vertex. Okay. And then here, draw my graph, and again there'll be graph paper on the test for this. So the first equation, -2x plus 1, and our swing point is 0. So if I plug in 0 there, I get 1. And then I'm supposed to plug in numbers that are bigger than 0 for this one. So I'm going to plug in 1, and I get -1. I'm going to plug in 2, and I get -4 plus 1 would be -3. 0, 1, closed, 1, -1, and 2, -3. So there's that side. Okay. Now to get the right side, my equation is 1/4 x minus 2. And again, I'm going to plug in 0 and get -2. So I'm going to put an open circle there, right? And then I'm going to plug in numbers that are smaller than 0. And I'm going to jump all the way to -4. And if I plug in -4, I get 1/4 times -4 is -1 minus 2 is -3. So -4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then -3. Right there somewhere. And I'm not going to graph another point. But anyway, and there's that, right, the left side of that graph. Just to double check, the left side of the graph is supposed to have a positive slope, and it does. The right side of the graph is supposed to have, and I drew that wrong, didn't I? Oopsie. Big oopsie. It emanates from here, not from here. Silly. So what is that point? -4, -3. So that is that line. Okay. Sorry about that. But anyway, the left side of the graph is supposed to have a positive slope, and it does. And it's supposed to have a slope of 1/4, down 1/4, and it does. And then the right side of the graph is supposed to have a negative slope, and it does. And then its slope is supposed to be -2. So let's see, did we go down 2 and over 1? We did. So we can check those, the way they're written. Anyway, there you go.